Welcome to Grounded Guidance, the casual space for conversation with curiously intuitive minds as we explore fascinating topics that stretch our edges to think differently, live aligned with the pathway we are choosing each day, and propel us to move through life with a new lens on the world. Each week, we will explore in this space ideas that may challenge conventional thinking, encourage us to be intentional with our thoughts and actions, and grow through conversation with each other and with you. Join us. Hello, hello.
Hey, how are you?
I am great. How are you guys?
Awesome.
Good.
So good.
Yeah. Welcome, everybody.
How's everybody in the chat?
Oh, they have started early.
Yeah, they are.
They got their air traffic control devices out, ready to call in the aliens, because that's what we're talking about tonight.
They're luring them.
They are excited, I think, like we are. This is going to be a hot topic. I think it's a hot topic for all of us that are curious, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
A couple things before we get started. Grounded Guidance is live here every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'd love to have you subscribe to our channel so you never miss a live show. You'll get a notification when we go live. We'd love for you to share with somebody you think might love the content and engage with us because this is a live show. Also, for those of you that have subscribed and do engage with us, thank you. We do appreciate you joining us each week because it's fun to have a conversation with you guys. So,
for sure.
Let's dig in.
All right.
So this was Mr. Movie's idea. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to have you kick us off, Mr. Movie.
Of course. After I've been scrambling,
no
and
pressure.
Any time to prepare the last 30 minutes,
I would love to if it would be easier for you.
Yeah, I was wanting to get stuff set up, but I've been working on getting her camera fixed last 20 minutes. So.
I somehow managed to mess up my camera, and then he had to fix it. It's a whole thing.
Well, good. See, we are just like calm as cucumber here, though. I bet nobody would have even known.
I know he didn't have to mention it. Right? We could have been like professional streamers for one time if he didn't mention it. But
I'm just not prepared to launch right now. So.
Okay. Fair enough. I do have to say, please look at Mr. and Mrs. Movie shirts. They are here for the popcorn tonight, folks.
Yes.
Is that freaking awesome or what? I love it.
We both want to believe.
Yeah, I do believe. Let's just put it out there. Okay.
Me too.
All right.
Me too.
George in the comments. Nice. I just want to be probed. Why won't they choose me? Oh, gosh. Be careful what you wish for, George.
Yeah.
George.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're probably watching this live stream right now. They're like, oh, George.
You betcha.
We will come and get you, George. You're next.
Oh, man. We're starting off with a bang, you guys. Okay, so tonight we're going to start with the recent UFO sighting and supposed crash landing in Las Vegas in the backyard of a family in Las Vegas. And then we'll kind of expand our edges and talk a little bit more about, not UFOs. They're called UAPs now, unidentified aerial phenomenon. So we'll get into that as well.
Yeah, leave it to the government to change the name.
Yes,
fine.
Exactly. Yes. Mrs. Movies, you had an interesting correlation about that a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about that. So we'll talk about that later too. The interesting correlation you made with Skinwalker Ranch and UAP and UFO. Maybe you can just talk about it now. I thought that was really interesting.
Oh, well, yeah, yeah, we'll get into Skinwalker Ranch in another episode. We'll go into like deep detail and dive on it. But yeah, I noticed in the early season of Skinwalker Ranch, they were calling them UFOs, all of them calling them UFOs. And then I think it was season 2, all of a sudden, just magically start calling them UAPs. Like they just all of a sudden changed their terminology. And I think it was because the one guy, that's when was starting to work for the government, right? The secret government agency that he was working for.
And it was the UAP task force that he started working on. It didn't come out that he was working for them until I think season 4.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
That was really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they just changed the term in mainstream just to I don't understand the motive behind it, but even on our show tonight, hashtag UFO on YouTube doesn't work. Like, it's not a featured hashtag. And I put that in our settings below first. Hashtag UAP is. So all you people watch on YouTube right now, you can look underneath and see the 3 hashtags that YouTube is. There's one grounded guidance, one podcast, and one UAP. UFO is actually in the description lower, and it should be first before
that's
UAP.
That's bizarre. It's like they're trying.
So even
I
it's
don't
the
know.
establishment saying UFO is no longer a thing.
It's not a thing.
Okay, so on a recent episode of Skinwalker Ranch, the high intelligence, somebody high up in the government that was on the UAP task force, who is no longer, said that he was the one that coined the phrase. He was at Skinwalker Ranch and they were doing some testing. And he said that they changed the name, and I don't know the validity of this, but they changed the name to, there's so much hype around UFO. And I think it was to, I don't know, distract or confuse,
think so.
Maybe, right?
You know, yeah, I mean, because when you hear UFO, you think little green man, flying saucer, and
the main term for so long that everybody knows what a UFO is.
They want you to not think little green man flying saucer anymore.
Maybe the motive is, since they're trying to, release it to the public, they're like, if we call it something else, most people won't understand what we're talking about because they don't know the new term.
Or if we call it something else, then maybe we weren't lying to them this whole time.
Anybody that's paying attention,
there being UFOs.
Right? They're talking about aliens. It's UFOs.
Yes. Yeah. So somebody asked in the comments, what does UAP stand for? Unidentified aerial phenomenon. And that's the new buzzword that is replacing UFO.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. So, all right. So we'll give a little background on what happened in Las Vegas. So on the night, we'll start on May 1st. May 1st, very early in the morning, around 12:30 a.m., a Las Vegas family claims that something, perhaps a UFO, crash landed in their backyard of their house. This is the house that they are renting, prompting them to call 911. So 2 brothers and their dad were working on a car in their backyard. So in looking at aerial photos, this backyard is quite large. It's gravel, and they're renting at this property. And also in this backyard is a lot of heavy equipment, a lot of big machinery, a lot of heavy equipment. So I was picturing a car in a backyard, like that was like, but imagine pretty large scale. So they were working on the vehicle. They saw a sparkly object as it came crashing down. They described the feeling like they were being hit by a shock wave. So one of the witnesses was the young man that lives at the home. His name is Angel. And he said when he looked into the yard where the object had landed, the spot was obscured and blurry, as if veiled or cloaked. So what's interesting about this is we kind of need to take a step back in the story. So we need to go back to the day before, really a couple weeks before. But the day before, so this was, now mind you, this was April 30th at 11:50 p.m. So that was really just 40 minutes prior to when the phone call was made to 911. A Las Vegas Metro PD's body cam, he was pulling somebody over, captured something streaking across the night sky. Well, also what peaks in the month of April in the United States is the Lyriad meteor shower. So many people made reports in California, Nevada, and Utah of seeing this big greenish flash across the sky. So there's this really interesting website that you can look up called, it tracks meteors. And on that particular day, early in the morning on 5/1, there were 22 reports of this, 5 of which were in Las Vegas. So I thought that was interesting. Right around the same time, the young man made the phone call to 911. So just some interesting background about that. Yeah. Actually, no, 3 were recorded at 11:50 p.m. 2 were recorded at 11:45 p.m.
So we're thinking, I mean, on the surface, it's like, oh, aliens, right? But the debunked comment is that it's just a meteor shower and that these guys then made this up. So it's like a hoax sort of situation, right?
Yeah. I mean, well, we don't know yet. I mean, we don't have all the details yet, but that laying the facts out there, that is what we know. The Lyriad meteor shower occurred somewhere between the days of April 14th through the 29th and peaked somewhere around the 25th to the 27th.
You don't always see meteor showers break the atmosphere, though, right? Like,
you don't.
You see them. You don't always see them coming, hitting the ground, is what I'm saying.
You don't. That is very true. And bright meteors are also called fireballs. And NASA did chime in and say that this was a meteor that you see on the body cam of the police officer that fell to Earth. But it was hundreds of miles from Vegas. It wasn't like
it was a big freaking meteor for being hundreds of miles away.
Yeah.
It was.
Do we want to watch the footage from the news report?
Let's watch it. Yes.
All right. Bring it up here. How do we want to watch this? Watch it like that. Go sideways. Go sideways.
The incident has a lot in common with other bizarre cases from around the world. An alleged crash, strange beings, and bits and pieces that don't make sense. But the police took this seriously, and so do we.
From CBS 8 in Las Vegas.
Just before midnight on April 30th, skywatchers across several western states saw a bright fireball.
See, there's the green fireball right there.
A police officer.
It does. You do lose it though. I don't know if it gets lost behind a building or what.
See it?
Yeah.
Right there.
Oh, you missed it.
So this is like that body cam from the police officer. This wasn't at the home of.
That call would have come in about 45 or 50 minutes later.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so that's in the sky. Let's see if we can. Bam. Let's watch this at 0.25 speed.
Just before.
Look at that.
Whoa.
Meteor? That's really big. And then it goes behind a building. That looks a lot like the UFO I saw when I was little. I was like 13 on Halloween. Looked exactly like that. It was like a blue streak across the sky. And it was going straight north and then disappeared over the big hill in the town I used to live in. So,
Mr. Movies, will you bring that fireball link in? I put in the chat.
The chat.
Can we bring that up?
Because there's another video of the fireball that I think is pretty compelling.
Okay. Is it on this page here?
It sure is.
One of these two videos? Okay.
Yeah, the second one, the one on the right.
All right. Got it.
Reshare your screen.
I'll get to it in a second. Hold on. Here we go.
Really capture it on a Ring camera, huh?
Yeah, I thought this was interesting.
Is there audio?
Oh, damn.
Look at that.
Yeah.
That doesn't look like a fireball.
That looks like there's a shape. That's a triangle.
Doesn't that look shapely?
That's like a triangle light.
It looks shapely.
Holy cow. That's just before midnight.
What is
April
happening,
30th.
Folks? What is happening?
But that's at a different time even than that body cam footage, right?
No, this is the exact same, just before midnight.
Is it
Look
the
at
same?
that.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
That is not a meteor.
That's fucking crazy looking.
Yeah, but
I have not seen that.
Look at the tail. Yeah. Isn't that wild? I know. Wild.
Like, wild. I thought it was probably an alien before. I definitely think it's an alien now. Look at that thing. That looks like a spaceship.
But wait, look at the trajectory of it going down. I mean, to me, that is okay. So I guess let's keep going with the story here. So,
100 miles away, my ass. Like, that looks like it's in that guy's backyard, right?
It does.
It feels like it's lighting things around it too. Like
it did. So that's what they said.
Yeah, somebody in the comments did make a really good point. They said, didn't somebody's Ring camera capture a crashing sound? I don't know if you guys heard that crashing sound, but it did sound very metallic and like what I would expect maybe a UAP,
an alien spaceship sounding.
Right? Yes. Right. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is very compelling. And then I dug into that a little bit more, and it was apparently recorded in mid-April by a fireball that passed over somebody's house that wasn't in. This is really interesting too. This video.
This is supposed to be from the same event page.
Yeah, it is.
So
Watch
this is
it.
another Ring cam. Watch how bright it gets.
It is insane. I didn't know what I was looking at. I was like,
turns to daylight.
It turns to
Shut up.
It turns to daylight on the camera.
Yeah. I know.
That's bonkers.
Like, what am I looking at?
Well, and lots of people said it made things very bright, like it turned things to daylight, but that looks like the sun is out. That's crazy.
That's got to be hella bright to get all those colors out of a camera. To make a little webcam, a Ring cam, go from night vision to daylight and have that much.
It almost looks edited to me. Like, honestly, it looks like noon.
Yeah, it's like they put a frame of noon.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't know.
That would be a hard thing to fake, though, I guess.
That Fireball website, will you bring up just the events that happen on the day? So there was 22 events it's just the main page. 22 events that they captured for this Fireball event, all around from Utah, Arizona, Nevada. And what's interesting is I don't know how these are documented, but you'll see that the duration of them, I don't know if the person says, oh, I saw it for 3.5 seconds, and then that's what they record. But I thought this was interesting, all on 5/1. There were 22 different recordings of these quote unquote fireballs, 2 captured here in these.
22 witness reports.
Ello mentions in the comment, I want to believe, but it seems like an airburst burns in the atmosphere like the Russian meteor a few years ago. I don't remember that. An airburst.
Oh, that one Ring cam. It looks very shapely.
That was weird. I mean, it just had like a weird. It was reflecting weird off of things. Like, it was bizarre.
Mostly in Vegas.
Chelyabinsk.
Somebody saw it in Lake Havasu.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about that geographically, it's interesting.
Dallas Air Force.
Michael thinks it looks like a fireball to him.
I'm with you, Michael. That's what I think.
Looks like a fireball? You don't think that thing looked like it was an alien spaceship? Like, that was so weird.
Well, there's more to this story. So let's just keep talking about what else happened that night. So somebody in the comments said, wasn't there a sound attached to it? And yes, a Ring camera did pick up that crashing sound. But what they tied that to was actually, the news media, how they will make any story believable. It was a Ring video captured from the middle of April that they tied to this event.
Oh, from the start of the meteor shower.
Correct. Yeah.
It wasn't from that night.
Correct. Still interesting though.
Yeah, very.
So let's see here.
But also, like, wouldn't it leave a mark if a fireball landed? Wouldn't it leave a crater?
Not always. No, I mean they often burn out and leave very little once they hit the Earth's atmosphere.
That thing was
sometimes
very
they do.
large, very close to the surface.
There have been meteors that are quite large once they hit. I think there's one in Flagstaff, Arizona, that's just huge, and it's still there. But anyways, so in the call to 911, and this is something you can find online, the family members were recorded as saying they saw an 8-foot or 10-foot person or something being with big eyes that is not human. They detailed big shiny eyes and mouths. So the family, you can listen to the audio recording, which is interesting because they don't seem very panicked.
Freaked out. Yeah. The more I listen to it, the more I'm like, yeah. I feel like he might have just been lying about it. Like he saw a big thing, then he was like, he's having drinks with his brother and was like, oh, wouldn't it be so cool if there was an alien in our backyard? And they're like, oh yeah, let's call the cops. That sounds like a great idea.
Recorded a strange noise and what sounds like a crash.
Okay, that's the video you're talking about.
Their yard when they caught a glimpse
of
a
the drone
sparkly
footage
object as it came crashing down. Then, when the brothers looked into the yard where the object cured and
see if we get to the.
They're very large.
In your backyard, or two.
Call to 911.
So
Here's
there's
the
two people or two subjects that are in your backyard.
Correct, and they're very large. They're like 8 foot, 9 feet, 10 foot. I don't know. They look like aliens to us. Big eyes. They have big eyes. Like I can't explain it. And big mouth. They're shiny eyes and they're not human. They're 100% they're not human.
8 News Now investigators have spoken with family members multiple times in the past 4 weeks. But
Dave says one had a broken leg.
One of the brothers or the aliens?
One of the aliens. So they're also saying that it got into that big caterpillar. And the circle, there's a circle right here in the lot. Mm-hmm. That's where it landed.
They debunked that with Google Earth. You can see the circle there before.
Yeah.
Well, and here's what else I say about that. We're assuming
they landed there before.
Are all round, right? I mean, that's just what the media and everybody portrays these crafts to be. I think they are every shape and they're every size, and we're assuming that it would be round,
circular.
So that was not very compelling to me. But look how big that backyard is. I mean, it
looks like they store a lot of
storage lot,
like campers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's more of the 911 call.
He got a good look at one of the creatures, he said, a greenish-grayish being with large eyes and long legs. He says he could hear its deep breaths, and when he locked eyes, he was, in essence, frozen in place, couldn't move. In the middle of the yard where the object had crashed, then vanished, a circular impression was.
There you go.
It just looks like somebody was doing cookies in the backyard.
Here we go, Mario.
Okay, where is this on your property?
Metro sources say the police dispatcher initially wondered whether to send a crisis intervention team to help the troubled
witness,
a joke, but then took the incident seriously. 2 officers arrived 38 minutes after the call, and by then had heard from other officers. They proceeded cautiously and managed some nervous laughs.
I ain't dealing with that.
A few days later, the family says 2 Metro sergeants returned to the scene to ask follow-up questions. In a car with government plates cruising slowly past the house in the following days.
Men in Black stopped by.
Have denied any interest or involvement with the incident. Metro has indicated they believe the family that something crashed in their yard. But what?
Someone else has access to it.
Yeah. I watching that. They weren't panicked, but at the same time, it's like you got to put yourself in the shoes of the people in that area and just the energy that would be in the air off of something like that. And for the authorities, the cops that responded to it, everybody felt like something weird was going on. I feel like there would be this leftover energy and you'd be able to feel it, especially if it was, otherworldly.
When you say feel it, do you feel like it made people crazy?
No, like just
like after a rain when there's a lot of ions in the air and that kind of thing.
You know, when you feel something that's not supposed to be there, that's out of place. There's just, it's like we talked about energies before on the show, where you just know something's different. You go into an area that might have spirits or something, and you can just feel it. Like there's just something in the air. And the way the cops are talking about on their body cams, they felt it too. And they made them,
I would agree.
They were freaked out.
Yeah, they were spooked.
Believe the people. So, and then a lot of people in the area talking about how they saw the thing. Like there was a weird air about that whole area at night. So, makes it very believable.
Yeah, I was able to see some footage. There's a gentleman by the name of Doug Papa, and he is a former, I don't know, I think some sort of intel police investigator, something like that. But anyways, somebody in the family released some footage to him, and it's on his podcast. I have a hard time seeing what it is, but he says that it's supposed to be these alien beings. I don't know if anybody's seen that, but I thought it was really interesting.
Oh yeah, you talking about the?
Did you see it?
I have that video pulled up. Yeah, from that podcast.
Yeah,
I have this video.
Here, I'll pop it in here.
You got a different
one?
Yep,
I got it. Yep. Yeah, here, try that one. You really have to look close. I didn't even know what I was looking at.
All right. All right, let me share this real quick.
What I think was interesting is that guy's podcast. All of his naming of his podcast is just like ridiculous.
It is, yeah.
Well, it's all clickbait.
So look on the top. Look on the very top of the machines. They're kind of faint, but like the big, like you'll see, up there.
Shape there, yeah. There's supposed to be somebody inside too.
That's what I heard.
I'm sure it's not just
inside.
A tree in the neighbor's yard that would.
Yes.
Yeah, it looks like a tree in the neighbor's yard. In fact, pull up the aerial footage of the. Wonder if we can debunk that.
The second footage looked a little more realistic, but I was like, wow, that is really. I think it's just that one. Just it goes on for a little longer.
Yeah, chat see anything?
Just looks like a tree in the background to me.
I'm looking at the cab of the tractor.
I don't see anything in the cab. You can see through that one cab, it looks like.
Can you keep playing that? Because it appeared to move when I watched it.
Play.
On top?
Yeah. It looks like one of those blow up dinosaurs, you guys.
Like the dinosaur suits that you inflate?
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah, fascinating. So he described these beings that they saw in their backyard as kind of greenish, grayish, with large eyes and long legs. He said that they would take these deep breaths that were very audible. And then, which I think this part's very interesting, he became kind of frozen in place when he tried to lock eyes with them, similar to what you would experience in a sleep paralysis, which I thought it's like, wow, what's happening? What kind of, what's the energy around that, right? The cloaking mechanism and then the sleep paralysis. What is that?
Emitting some sort of energy that makes them just
frequency
freeze. Yeah.
So when they did call 911, the police.
Which frequency? Let's channel that and see if we can use it.
Or like digital camouflage. Like he said he got blurred vision. Not all around, cloaking. Just when he tried to look at it.
Yeah, the cloaking.
So.
But that, that's no different though than, I think we talked about this on the Bermuda Triangle podcast, or maybe, I don't know which one it was. I think the government's been using cloaking technology for years. So I think the cloaking technology is it's far advanced. And it'll be interesting when we talk about, like, if this actually happened, then where did all of this go? And how did they get it all swept up under the rug in no time and nobody saw anything? Right?
Yeah.
Where did it go?
And let's see, the call from the time of the fireball situation was like 40 minutes, and then the time that the cops responded after the call was about 40 minutes. So you're talking an hour, maybe an hour and a half or so from the initial incident occurring, and then everything's just gone. It's just
what's interesting about that timeline is I don't know if everything was gone at that point in time, because when they arrived, there was some interesting pieces that happened. They arrived, the police officers arrived, they took their dissertation, and then they left and said, if you see anything else, don't call me again. They have that on camera, right? And I thought, wow, they must have seen something that really spooked them.
I mean, he was joking, but
right. I just was like, wow. But in the days that followed, they had all sorts of things happen. They had cameras that were installed on the property. They had the men in black that came and surveilled the property for days after that. And then from what I could find, this did not break news until, I want to say, the 15th or 16th of May.
Yeah.
Because the family was like, they are very, like, sworn to secrecy. There's some sort of cloak of you cannot tell that's been placed on them, because there's been so many investigative people that have been trying to get interviews with the family, and they just won't talk to anybody anymore. So I think that's interesting.
Well, it sounds like they were kind of bombarded once the news broke from that guy. Then everybody was like, whoa, I got to talk to this family about these aliens. And then they were finally like, okay, like, enough's enough. Like, we don't want to be harassed about this shit.
Well, and if there was something there and it took them days, think about that. That's 15 days that they could take to move stuff off the property.
Yeah.
Now, do I think it took that long? No, I don't. I think it very well probably happened the same night. I think that their technology, if this was a UAP craft, is so far advanced to what we can even ascribe to be, what we consider a flying craft. It's so far beyond what we know to be true. And so I think that it probably moved in and out of these dimensions very quickly. That would.
Yeah. You're in the field of, like, yeah, it could have happened, but why would they have, like, crashed their ship here? They could just, like, blink in and blink out. And
I think, like Robonex says, is maybe they didn't crash it. It was an emergency landing. They were able to take off after.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe the two that they saw weren't the only. Maybe they were just scouts that they sent out. Or maybe somebody got ejected by accident. You don't know.
There's a first-time driver.
Broken leg guy.
Just, like, got panicked.
Get him. While the other people were working on the getting it back up and running, and then they got back in and took off.
I love it.
A teenage first-time flyer, like, panicked on takeoff.
Just like those teenage Bigfoot that we all see. The teenage aliens are always up to no good. Getting seen. Can't trust teenagers.
That's actually really funny. I guess why would they choose a very densely populated area, right? I mean, this is something.
This wasn't intentional, was it? No.
Maybe they heard that whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and they thought they
were counting on what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Yeah.
That's actually really funny.
Yeah. Damn Vegas people broke their cover, blew their cover.
It's all over the national news.
So much for that.
That is too funny. So I thought this was really interesting. The Nellis and Creech Air Force Base officials have denied any interest or involvement in the incident. Las Vegas MPD sources indicated that they believe the family's claim that something crashed in the yard, but exactly what crashed remains a mystery.
Yeah. It was probably just a fireball, you're right. But it didn't crash land in their yard because there was no evidence of it.
Right. Exactly. Ryan Nagato, quick stop for Reese's Pieces.
Yeah, I know. So funny.
Yeah.
E.T. reference for those that don't know.
Yeah, so good. So good. So good. Yeah. Really fascinating.
I think it could easily be debunked, but some of those pictures, I don't know. It's just it's unique. You don't often see meteorites landing that large or falling that large in the middle of a city, you know.
That's a very good point. Yes.
Not that they can control where they land, you know, meteorites just fall, but
I do think it's interesting because they, you know, if it is a hoax and this family was all up for this ruse, that's a pretty, you know, I listened to the audio quite a bit to try to unveil something, and I really couldn't. It didn't seem like he was too panicked, and you have to kind of wade through a lot of the news sources because they'll add their own flair and all this interesting extra jargon that is probably not part of the truth. But yeah, he seemed in a recent I think he's been doing YouTube videos that he's just really tired of all the attention and he just wants to get his life back to normal and leave his family alone. And I thought, oh boy.
It was fun for a minute and now it's not so great. Please stop. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I did read too that they do have quite a few videos that are concealed that they have not disclosed to anybody. So what those are?
Somebody said a buddy worked for the Vegas police department and said they had body cam footage and a whole bunch of stuff because on the news report, it's all blurred when they go into the yard. But apparently there's other footage that they have that a government agency showed up and took it. And we'll never know.
I'd love to see the police, you know, trying to handcuff these, you know, alien beings. I just would love to see this in, you know, like what this would look like, right? Trying to use force again. Yeah.
It was interesting. Made national news for quite a couple weeks, so it's pretty awesome.
And that coincides with the recent whistleblower that just came out saying, we have
David Grush
pieces and full crafts. Government has them.
And they've been doing reverse engineering on them, correct?
I believe all that, because I believe if you look at the technological advances we've made since the 50s, the whole Roswell incident, I believe that we got something in the 50s, and we've been reverse engineering, adding it to our technology, and just getting better and better technology. And who knows what experimental crafts we have operating now around the world and in our country. It's spooky.
Yeah, the whole David Grush thing I think is so interesting. You know, he's one of many that have come forward and revealed these secrets, but he had the highest security clearance for our government. And he was on the UAP task force, which I think is really interesting. And he did not know about this program that the US government has to basically in their possession. They've got these crafts and dead bodies. And with his kind of clearance, he was just shocked. And his big thing, I watched the interview, is he feels like it's hiding things from the narrative that the American public should have access to. And it's unethical. And he wants more people to understand this. It doesn't sound like he works for the federal government anymore, but
Yeah.
um,
There's always that layer. There's always that layer of like, okay, is he just a disgruntled employee and is like going to take everybody down with him? Yeah.
I did get a little bit of that watching it, because I was really trying to kind of hone in on, he's very astute. He's very clear with his words. He's very intentional. But I did get a little bit of that he's just really pissed off.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Well, yeah, I mean, the whistleblowing changes his life forever too.
Yeah, and everybody in his vicinity, right? I mean,
yeah.
Yeah. So one of the interesting things about his, like what he's revealed, is Grush said that UFOs could be coming from extra dimensions. That Pope Pius back in the 50s had back-channeled the existence of a vehicle crashed in Italy, in 1933, not the 50s, in the United States, and that he had spoken with intelligence officials whom the U.S. military had briefed on very large crafts, like football field kind of size, that the U.S. government transferred some vehicles to cleared defense contractor to provide some analysis to the government, and that there was evidence of aggressive or malevolent activity by UFOs. Grush said that there was substantive evidence that white-collar crime was committed to conceal UFO programs, and that he interviewed officials who said that people were killed over the years to conceal the programs.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, it sounds like Independence Day, right? Like,
yeah,
you think of the crafts like on Independence Day, and the underground facilities where they're doing testing on the aliens bunkers, and the ships. The ships. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, honestly, they made a movie about it, so there's at least some layers of truth to all movies, I think. Yeah, wow, that's crazy. It's crazy to think about.
It really is.
Extra dimensional. I love that.
Extra. Yeah. What is that?
Extra dimensional.
Right? Yeah. The interviewer, who I thought he did a very interesting, very good job, but one of the questions he asked was, what is the reasons for the secrecy? Why do we feel like we need to be so secretive about this? And he said, feudalistic dominance. Which makes sense, right? I mean, if I can keep control over people believing one thing, then I'm not going to have. Do you remember a couple of years ago the big raid on Area 51? I think there was a bunch of people that were looking to raid, or they did try to raid. I think it only ended up being about 150 people. But the less you know, the less you'll ask questions about.
Yeah, absolutely. Feudalistic dominance. Wow, that's a feudalistic
dominance. Yeah. It's just. But yeah, the other whistleblower that I've done a bit of research on is Bob Lazar. I'm sure some of you have heard of him. He actually worked for one of the areas within Area 51 back in the 80s. And he came out with his bombshell allegations back in, I want to say, the early 2000s, maybe the late 90s, talking about how he worked on several projects that were the federal government working to reverse engineer these crafts that had either crash landed or were buried in archaeological sites or whatever. But he's fascinating. There is a Netflix documentary about him, and then multiple people have interviewed him on podcasts. He's wow. I mean, talk about brave, because his life significantly changed with his, testimony.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And not in a great way. Are we beaming up the aliens tonight?
I went to get the girl, the little one, a cookie, and I looked out the window and there was a black SUV. So, just in case they're trying to
They
tap
ain't getting
into
to you
something.
tonight.
Our neighbors
safe.
drive a black SUV also,
I tried to get Howdy one, and he wouldn't sit still.
he brushed his off. He didn't want it. He's always setting up some kind of gag. What a goofball.
What?
What a goof.
Our neighbors have a black SUV?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, doesn't hurt to be safe.
Oh my gosh, that is
idiot.
awesome. One of the other thing about Grush that I thought the latest whistleblower that I thought was really interesting too was he was the head of the UAP task force, and he did not know about this program that we have to reverse engineer.
How did he find out about it then? If he didn't know about it, how did he find out about it?
What I've learned about Bob Lazar is nobody really has the whole story, right?
Everybody has little bits as pieces. That way nobody can,
Exactly.
That way if one person whistleblowers, they're,
Yeah, right. You're not sunk, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think he was able to put the pieces together talking to these other people with very high security clearance. I think it's interesting. I think the timing of his revelations and then this whole thing that happened in Las Vegas, the timing is really interesting.
It is.
I don't know if him coming out at this time was because he'd already generated a lot of interest in this. I mean, there's always the community that is interested in this, but I think you do garner more attention when you're coming on the heels of, a UFO sighting a UAP sighting in Las Vegas.
Do we remember the specifics of the Bob Lazar story? Did we talk about
that?
Yeah.
So a little bit I did. He worked actually down for one of the bases down in New Mexico and got his assignment to move to the Las Vegas area, but didn't know what he would be doing. He didn't even go to what they call Area 51. There's another name for it. It was something Lake. Let's see if I can find it here. Groom Lake. I think that's where one of the bases or one of the hangars was. So anyways, he said he flew, which I thought was interesting, from the airport in Las Vegas to his place out at Groom Lake. They didn't even drive there. Anyways, he worked out there, and he was one of the, I don't know if he was a physicist or an engineer. I think he was an engineer that worked on the project to reverse engineer these crafts that are in the United States Air Force, whatever they are. And he said that at one point he arrived at work and he'd work in pairs, and the person that he'd work in never knew more than he did. And you never ask questions, and you never really know what you're doing. You're given the brief on what you're supposed to be working on. It's 2 to 3 pages, but it's like, oh, you're going to be fixing the sensor to do this, and you don't know more than that. But he said one day he got to work and the hangar doors were all open. I thought this was so interesting, and from one end to the other, all the hangar doors were open, and you just saw craft after craft after craft, all different shapes, sizes. I mean, he said it was just this really eye-opening moment that what was happening was real. Like it was all coming together. Yes. Yeah. And multiple people talking about how you just, you have very high security clearance. You're not supposed to be talking about this, and
shut your face or we'll kill you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But another thing that he talked about is the test flights they used to do. So he was privy to the test flights that they did out with some of the craft that they worked to reverse engineer out there on the base. So he would know when those test flights were. And he said that he would go get his friends and buddies and go up to the hillside and watch a lot of these test flights that would happen out in the desert. I mean, there's a reason it's out. Cool. It's called Area 51. Yeah. So he's an interesting guy. Definitely have to check him out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Non-Earth elements. They discovered non-Earth elements that powered the craft and anti-gravitation systems.
Fun stuff.
Yes. Non-Earth element. I mean, one of the things he said that was so fascinating to me was imagine taking a nuclear reactor that we have kind of around the United States and placing a nuclear reactor with today's technology back in the early 1800s. So people walk into this nuclear reactor and they don't know that it's got harmful emissions and the radiation and that most likely the chemicals will kill you, right? It's no different than what these people were working on. They don't know what they're working with. They don't know
elements that don't even
works.
exist in our world. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of it was very dangerous, he said, because you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Anti-gravity, man, that is...
Probably a beryllium sphere.
What?
Beryllium sphere. It's a, otherworldly material used to power jump drives and stuff.
Krypton?
Yeah.
I am interested in this. Yeah, advanced alien civilizations.
This could be a whole
it will be a whole episode at some point for sure. Because I think we all have
maybe not advanced alien civilizations, maybe advanced human civilizations, ancient civilizations that met an apocalypse and we rebuilt from.
Atlantis, Lemuria.
Yeah.
Perhaps both, right? Maybe those ancient human civilizations were.
I mean, we watched Battlestar Galactica. Remember how that all ended up?
Yeah, and the Cylons. Interesting.
Well, and how do we define alien, right? Like, what is an alien? Right? We're talking about ancient aliens that, like, what are we defining as an alien? What are we defining as these crafts? Are they from another planet, dimension? Are they just here on Earth, but like the Earth within, or like
like maybe Bigfoot
Earth,
is an alien, right? Yeah. Oh yeah, like Hollow Earth.
Yes.
It's all interesting.
Because I think I do think some people, when you think about the little green beings and how scary that might be, right? What does that look like? Is there only one species? Are there many species? And why are they coming here? What are they interested in? If their technology is so far advanced to our technology, what do they want to know coming to planet Earth?
I think it was Joe Rogan. Yeah, I watched listened to one of his podcasts the other day, and I think he said, like, they're probably just here watching us, just trying to keep us from blowing ourselves up, right? Like,
that could be it.
They're just here monitoring to make sure we don't destroy the entire planet with nuclear weapons or something, right?
Maybe they had nuclear sensors that as soon as
they're like, "Oh, these idiots are getting too close to doing something stupid."
These guys might blow themselves up, or they're getting advanced enough. Maybe they'll come find us, and we got to keep tabs on them first. So,
because I mean, clearly, if they're traveling from different dimensions or different planets or galaxies or wherever, their technology is far more advanced than ours. So why would they need to come here? They don't clearly need our resources if they have all of this advanced technology. But so
If
there's got to be some other purpose.
If it can empower the human race, why? Forgive me for asking this question because I already, it's a rhetorical question. If it can advance the human race, and we know that so much of what these crafts are made out of, that some of these whistleblowers have talked about, could advance so much of how we live here on Earth, why is it so shrouded in secrecy?
It's so true, right? Like, I mean, such a great question. Like, if they've got the technology to come here and, transport themselves to and from in between dimensions, worlds, they've got to have some insights on, how to green energy, right? Like, they've got to have some better insights on green energy than just windmills and solar panels. Like, I mean, there's just got to be something else they can share with us here. So yeah, why are the powers to be hiding this shit from us?
I don't think they think we're ready.
I don't care if we're ready or not. It sort of seems like the powers to be want us to destroy ourselves. Doesn't it feel like that?
Hey, we're in contact with beings from another planet.
It would be mass pandemonium. It would be mass pandemonium. Yeah, people would. I really believe that.
Don't you think they could be utilizing the technology or grabbing the technology and calling it our own, like manufacturing it in a way? I guess maybe they are, and they just suck at it. Like, they're trying to reverse engineer these things so that they can say, oh, look at all of the technological advancements that we've made, but they just haven't been able to do it because we're not smart enough.
They could be watching us since we made the A-bomb, and they're like, well, soon they'll be ready, but they're not yet. And then once we're ready...
Or they just want us to kill each other off. Just waiting for us to downsize.
I feel like they're doing a lot of biological tests, too, like animal testing and stuff like that. 'Cause you hear about all the cattle mutilations and
you think they're doing crossbreeding?
And maybe they're, taking our cattle for, trying to crossbreed with something that they have to mass produce.
Oh, I'm wondering about human crossbreeding. You think that
there's lots of things
doing human crossbreeding with aliens? Well, I guess better question.
I do.
Do you think we are just aliens,
I do. I really do believe they are among us. This is something that I have seen in my travels. And they appear to look, they can move in and out of some bodies very easily to assimilate. Not all of them, though. I don't believe all of them are doing that.
What about the they live concept?
We've got one who can see.
Right? Like, there are aliens among us. They're cloaked in human skins, and then there just happen to be some people who are like, this fella looks a little different. Like, there's something about this guy that I just don't. There's something about this guy.
Yeah. They're all wearing Mission Impossible skin masks.
Well, like the reptilians, I mean, if you talk about, right, I mean, that's a race of the extraterrestrials. There's so much speculation about who they are and how they exist within our culture and society. So much of it is about mass control. So that's an interesting. I need to get one of those hats for sure.
You could probably benefit
me one
from
of those hats. Yeah. I definitely could.
Keep out some of the other frequencies too.
I should have brought the whole foil thing down for the family. So my bad.
Did I ever tell you about one of Eric's stepdad's coworkers has visitors sometimes, and she sleeps in a Faraday cage.
Oh yes, you did tell me that. Yes,
Isn't
and I
that
didn't know
so
what that.
interesting?
I didn't know what that was until I looked it up, and I thought, "Am I on a different planet? What is that? What?" Yeah, you explain to people what that is.
A Faraday
It's
cage?
called, yeah.
So a Faraday cage is just like a big metal box essentially that's sealed on all sides, and so if there's electromagnetic frequencies like an EMP, typically Faraday cages are utilized for situations where EMPs might happen. So if an EMP hits and something is in a Faraday cage that is grounded, then the EMP essentially bounces around it and doesn't impact anything that's within the Faraday cage. So this lady who has visitors, we'll call them, right? Who has some like extrasensory perceptions during the night. She sleeps in a Faraday cage so that they can't those frequencies can't get to her while she sleeps. It seems to work for her, which I just think is very interesting. Yeah. Has nothing to do with aliens. I have not, but I am very intrigued.
Well, I'm going to keep that one in my back pocket. That's a good one.
Hey, I got a huge Faraday cage down here in our shed. My dad had one built for our generators. Really? So we have Faraday cages for our generators to go into. That way, if an EMP happens, the generators are protected. We can still power something, even though it messes up electrical circuits for everything. But
that's fascinating.
And anyways, that was nothing related to aliens. It's just the alien hat over here reminded me of a Faraday cage, which is essentially what it's trying to do, right? It's trying to block those frequencies from getting to his brain.
Yeah. Here you go. RoboNex says she probably has the best sleep ever. Yeah.
She probably does. Yeah. I mean, she was at the point where she wasn't sleeping so much that they were going to like institutionalize her, right? Because she kept hearing these voices and they thought she was crazy. And she's like, I'm not crazy. I'm hearing dead people, essentially. And yeah, then started sleeping in a Faraday cage and freaking worked. She doesn't have those issues anymore.
Dang.
Oh, Jesse Cortez. Oh, that's interesting. I think there are canopies that drape around beds. Oh. Well, it'd be interesting if you could drape your bed in a metallic canopy. That would be cool. All right, I diverted you guys.
I mean, this just sounds like my life. Let's be honest. This just sounds like
maybe we need to get you
guys
a canopy bed with like a metal screen. Seal her up,
Yeah, Daniel Faraday from Lost is named after the Faraday cage.
Who?
The character Daniel Faraday from the TV show.
Oh, really?
Chat.
Oh, somebody lost. Oh, okay.
And I mean, his character arc is a lot of based on electromagnetic stuff. So, yeah.
That's true. Yeah, it is all about that random crap.
I love this little diversion, though. It's quite fascinating. This would be horrifying.
Right? Oh, gosh, that would be the worst.
Horrifying, yeah.
Don't leave your Faraday cage open when you sleep. That's what could happen. Just created a huge
sounds immoral. Like
disc.
You're getting in a cage to. You know who else I think uses one as the psychic medium? Tyler Henry. I think he has one when he's doing.
Oh, really?
Specific. Yeah, he had one built in his house. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think you're right. When he uses it to channel things or something.
It upside down, it just turns into an antenna.
I know it sounds creepy, but hey, if you got those sorts of energies coming at you all the time, any sort of reprieve, I'm sure, would feel good.
So Danny Tate says they don't. So we're stepping back out of the Faraday.
Back to aliens. Okay, perfect.
Okay. They don't have the resources to duplicate the technology. Completely different elements that only exist on their planet and need alternative elements. Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. Maybe that's why we can't recreate things. Exactly.
Why we haven't
so
been
all the same
successful.
materials.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. They've got completely different elements in their world.
Oh my gosh, it would blow up the periodic table of elements, you guys. It would be like,
oh man,
it would be like 3 times the size.
Yeah.
If we were to identify all these different, elements that were within these craft.
I think, yeah. I feel like as far as science goes, we just forget that we don't know what we don't know far too often. We're like so set. Like, well, here's the periodic table of elements. What are these things? That doesn't really fit in there. Because we don't know about it yet.
Somebody was talking about Skinwalker Ranch and the cattle mutilations. I think it was Mr. Movies. You were talking about the biological impact of, I don't know, something. UAPs?
No, I'm just saying, like, I feel like they're doing biological tests on creatures, animals around the world. And cattle mutilations are evidence of some of that, where sexual organs of cattle are removed, electronically and surgically without any damage or sign of anything around them. So
yeah, I'm curious. So
like
if you think like that for a moment, what are they so curious about? I mean, they'll remove the organs, the eyes, and then they'll clean in, they'll clean out the inside and then just leave the carcass. I'm curious about, because that doesn't exist within their species. Is that what the curiosity maybe is from?
I was going down the track of, they know we use cattle for beef as one of our top food sources. What if they're trying to cross produce our cattle with something similar that maybe we running short of, and trying to create something that's, since we have so much cattle, that they're just trying to experiment, figure out how to do it, and create a new food source for themselves. Just a hypothesis.
That is a very interesting thought I had not even considered.
I think it could just be more from like hey, these guys eat things, and then like maybe it's literally just learning the biology of, I don't know. I was going somewhere with it, but then I lost it, so it disappeared. I don't know. Could you make me a hat?
Oh no, it's the interference is happening. It's true.
That black SUV out on the road that zapped your thought out so you couldn't expose it to the world. I'm telling you.
Folks, if you see this podcast taken down after this, you'll know why.
The man got to us.
That is.
Larry thought they ate cats, but I thought they were cats. I thought cats are aliens, isn't that?
Blue cat people live on Pandora.
What?
Avatar.
Oh, jeez.
But no, Alf eats cats.
Is Alf considered an ET though?
Yeah, he's an alien life form. Alf. ALF.
Oh. I liked that show. That was a good show.
It was
Funny.
a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. We've got some comments in here. Just trying to decide which one to...
We've talked about all those.
Oh, what if we could manifest the alien elements with our minds?
Deep.
Sorry.
That is highly possible. Right.
One's full of interesting comments.
Yeah, I do think that we tend to over intellectualize things. Right. I mean, if you look at the psych phenomenon, and telepathy and teleportation, all of that is done within your mind. Right. So I think that that's a really interesting concept. And if you think about these top government officials working on reverse engineering these craft, we are taking the perspective of a very logical engineering standpoint on how to do that. What do we know now and how do we make it happen? Well, we don't know what we don't know.
Right.
What if we did use psi phenomena to create that? It's an interesting idea.
It is, yeah. Very interesting concept.
Boy, that would look really different in a lab with people, you know, like I could just imagine it. People sitting there with their eyes closed as they're like creating all of these new elements, right? I mean, how cool would that be? That would be so cool.
It would take very different people sitting in that room thinking about that than the engineers, don't you think? The engineers would not be the right demographic for that.
Right.
Yeah.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, the intuitives. That's so funny. You have all the psychics sitting in a room. thinking
and then there's
Neptunian.
people in another room. Yeah, right. And then there's people in another room as you know, as they're creating these elements that are coming into a physical reality. There's other people in the other room as they're actually manifesting into this physical reality. They're, what is all of this? What are we going to name this? Where is it going to go on the periodic table?
What could we do with it?
we think this is crazy, but this might actually work.
Well, I think if that's possible, we live in a simulation. And we're just creating the code in our head to create something out of thin air.
I really love that. I think you watch a lot of movies, though.
I do.
No, but I do really think that there's a lot of truth to that.
See, Way Up Dude says, the only thing that scares me more than the space aliens is the idea that there aren't any space aliens. We can't be the best that creation has to offer. I pray we're not all there is.
Yeah. I agree. Way Up Dude, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Raining Madness this is interesting. Guess the only question I can come up with is if there is an official first contact, what kind of scenario would you think it would be? Peaceful, hostile, simple information exchange?
Oh, that's a great question.
That is a great question. I
think, yeah.
I wouldn't want to be
obviously
there.
You wouldn't? Oh, I would want to be there. I'd be fascinated. Bring it on. But I think it would be similar to people who speak two different languages that are having a hard time communicating, right? What languages are common among I'm not talking about physical language, but I'm sure the body language is different. I'm sure how we navigate our own reality is different. I mean, if you look to history and you look at when the West was settled and how the Europeans moved west, it was not always real happy, right? I mean, it was the encounters with a lot of the natives were very hostile. So if you look at that as kind of a guidepost, I would imagine that some of it could be hostile just because of simple misunderstandings. But I do believe that I do believe they've been here because they're curious. There's a lot of things we're doing that they're curious about.
I mean, there's a lot of movies that glorify the first contact, like Contact with Jodie Foster or The Day the Earth Stood Still. And
Close Encounters of the First Kind.
Yeah, it's all about,
Third Kind, excuse me.
Some designated person goes and talks to them and they have this conversation. I don't think it's going to be like that at all. In fact, I think if First Contact's probably already happened and it's been in secret they're not going to come here and land in Central Park and say, take me to your leader. They're going to know who the leaders are and find them and talk to them that way in secret. And it's probably already happened and it's just a moment of time. I feel like with the number of reports, the media's talking about it more mainstream every day. The whole change in terms from UAP to UAPs, from UFOs. It feels like something is building up, that they're trying to prep society for the news. I mean, even the Navy has acknowledged that UFOs are real. Like, the U.S. government has acknowledged UFOs are real. They've released documents and their own footage in the last couple of years, and like Project Blue Book and all that kind of stuff about what we have coming down the pipe. And I feel like it's going to be, hey, guess what? We're not alone.
You think it was like District 9? You think it's going to be like Arrival? Arrival, that would be a scary way too. Because those weren't
more like Contact. It was just
embodied aliens. They were like, right? Arrival wasn't embodied aliens, right? Wasn't it like gel? Like goo? You remember that movie?
Arrival?
Yeah.
No, they were speaking with they were creating letters on that screen.
Oh, you don't think that was just them?
The creatures were inside the spaceship.
I forget things.
I know.
Skinwalker Ranch, if we go back there for a second, was owned prior to Brandon Fugel's the one that owns it now, a businessman out of Utah. And now they have that big show about it. But Robert Bigelow owned it for 10 years prior to that. And then a family owned it for a lot of generations prior to that. But Robert Bigelow was, or is, a very big science mind. I don't know if he's a physicist or something, but I always thought it was really interesting that he never disclosed the information and the tests that he was doing and nothing was revealed. And come to find out, he was doing a lot of work with the federal government they were working very closely when he owned the ranch, which, I guess maybe I should have known that. And now they're just broadcasting it on the show. All the tests they're doing, right?
You had all the NDAs before, and now it's just like, tell us everything. Yeah. Well, maybe tell us everything. Maybe they're not disclosing everything.
Telling us what they want us to know so far.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. So kind of my whole point of saying that was, you think we're getting ready for this big disclosure. Yeah, this could be kind of the slow leak, right? It's generating interest. It's garnering attention. It's pushing
the masses. Like Mork and Mindy and My Favorite Martian.
I love My Favorite Martian. That is such a fun movie. Have you seen that one, Karen? With what's his name? Christopher Lloyd. He's the alien. Oh, it's good. And I can't remember what the other guy's name is. It's cute. It's a Disney movie.
Oh, it is? I'll have to check it out.
I think it's based on an old TV show, isn't it?
Could be.
My Favorite Martian TV show?
Yeah, probably.
Well, wasn't Mork and Mindy a TV show?
Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Yes, way back in the 70s, I think.
Wen coming in with another fun comment. We travel the universe every night when we sleep, just on the astral plane. We're going to get into that more too, Wen, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably why the Faraday cages are created for some people who the astral plane can be there's a lot of, disincarnate entities and beings, and everything comes out to play in the astral realm. So there's a fair amount of protection that needs to happen, but it's the wide open Wild West. So the Wild West of dream time.
Love that.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting discussion. Have you guys heard of the Rendlesham Forest incident? This is the one that happened over in Suffolk, England in 1980.
No.
And this was the one, it was the Rendlesham Forest. It was near the U.S. Air Force Base over there. And this was really interesting. They had So let's see if I can pull this together.
We just had a poll for the last 45 minutes. Do you believe in aliens? 79% said, or 80% said yes.
20% still saying no.
In denial.
Not doing it. Okay.
20% of people are wrong.
That's good. I love that, though.
I do too.
And I love that you're tuning in and still not believing. That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's even better, right?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Like, have a dissenting opinion from us, and please keep watching. That's
Just
the fun
have
part.
A fun conversation.
Yeah.
So the Rendlesham Forest incident was the most famous UFO event to have happened in the United Kingdom. And it's one of the best known reports of UFO events worldwide. It's being compared to the Roswell UFO incident in the United States. So around 3 o'clock on December 26, 1980, a security patrol near the east gate of the Rendlesham Forest Woodbridge saw lights apparently descending into the nearby Rendlesham Forest. These lights had been attributed by astronomers to a piece of natural debris seen burning up as a fireball meteor over the southern England at the time. Servicemen initially thought it was a downed aircraft. According to Halt's memo, upon entering the forest to investigate, they witnessed a glowing object that was metallic in appearance with colored lights. As they attempted to approach the object, it appeared to move through the trees, and the animals on the nearby farm went into a frenzy. One of the servicemen, Sergeant Jim Pennison, later claimed to have encountered a craft of unknown origin while in the forest, although there was no publicized mention of this at the time, and there is no corroboration from other witnesses. Shortly after 4 p.m., local police were called to the scene, but reported that the only lights they could see were those from the Orford Ness Lighthouse, some miles away on the coast. After daybreak on the morning of December 26, servicemen returned to the small clearing near the eastern edge of the forest and found 3 small impressions on the ground in a triangular pattern, as well as burn marks and broken branches on nearby trees. At 10:30, the local police were called out again, this time to see the impressions which they thought could have been made by an animal. Anyways, it goes on and on and on, but it's one of the most famous UFO sightings. And some of the depictions of it are quite interesting with the servicemen in their uniform and the bright lights. And but there's definitely some compelling evidence with that one. But you guys haven't heard of that one?
No. I wonder if we've seen images of it or depictions of it, and we just didn't know that that's what it was.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's. Anyways, I'm curious if anybody in the comments has heard of it.
There's a couple people in the comments that have said they voted no, but it's just because they don't believe that aliens have visited yet.
I started a new poll.
Yeah.
I think some people are commenting on the new poll.
Yeah, they're probably going to visit the person that said in the beginning they want to be visited.
I know. George, watch out.
Careful what you ask for, okay? Just be very careful.
I haven't seen George chat in a while.
I know. George hasn't been around for a while.
Right now.
He's already gone. They've already come and grabbed him.
You're still here.
Are they probing you currently?
I started a new poll after the Do You Believe in Aliens? This poll is, are ETs living among us?
Why can't I vote for this?
Oh, yeah. You have to be on YouTube watching.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna give my verbal, but we've already talked
Please.
about it. I absolutely believe they are living among us. I mean, this is without a shadow of a doubt. But we also have to think a little differently about this, right? It's as if the movies and every counterculture wants you to see it one way, that they only look this way. Yes. Do I believe that they look a certain way? Yes. But I do believe that they are able to do walk-ins in this human form and exist among us. 100%. And I think you, Mr. Movie, said that what does that look like? Are they a little strange? Are they a little odd?
Yeah, I think sunglasses to see them.
For me, there are certain characteristics that stand out about about some of them.
Do you think you've met an alien? Do you think you've met aliens before? Or engaged with them in some sort of way?
I don't refer to them like that. I refer to them like, I think it's kind of the whole UFO, UAP thing, right? It feels so sensationalized when we call them like, oh, the aliens living among us, right? They feel...
Perhaps they don't even know they're alien?
Correct. Yes.
Gotcha.
Sometimes I think I'm married to one.
Oh.
You think you're what?
How's that working?
Married to one?
No, Karen would tell me.
Why is that?
Men are from Mars, women are from Venus.
I was going to say, we look like we have 4 heads sometimes. Okay, fair enough.
So you think they carry a different frequency with them? Like they just feel different?
Yes. Yes. And the different, what is the word I'm looking for? The different types, the different species. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, species.
The different species carry a different frequency. The first time that I encountered it, it was very almost overwhelming. Almost it's just mind-blowing because they look flesh, like they're in the flesh, right? They look like a human, but they're not. And it yeah, I mean, I had to find some good boundaries around that. Right? Because the intention wasn't always, I didn't always feel real safe. The intention wasn't always real great. And I certainly am not saying that about all of them. So.
Oh, AKA Larry said, you ever walk by someone in the air and the hair on your arm stood up? Like maybe that sort of feeling?
Yeah.
Like somebody just gives you a weird energy vibration.
Yeah, that happens. That happens to me a lot, actually. Like something's just not quite right about that person.
You're extra sensitive to those energies, though.
Yeah. But I think what I would tell you is don't ignore that, right? Remember, our body and our subconscious mind feels things 30,000 times. It's 30,000 times more sensitive than our logical mind. So your body's going to feel it first. So don't ignore that.
Trust that intuition for sure.
Dave says he thinks ETs live among us and are the higher power people.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, some of those politicians do look kind of funny looking.
Yeah.
Be wearing a people mask. People suit.
Well, I mean, let's go somewhere really strange for a second. If we think about the federal government, if we think about the federal government and their radical approach to secrecy with all of the tighten that hat. Their radical approach to secrecy with everything UAP, UFO, aliens, skinwalkers, whatever it is. Perhaps are the alien or whatever we're calling them, the elites, are they also are the federal government officials running these programs to conceal all of this actually the aliens?
If they were, why would they be giving, like, why would they even be doing the experiments and concealing them? Why wouldn't they just be concealing it and not doing anything?
But are they working in conjunction with them? Like what Dave said, how he believes that the ETs are this higher power, like the people that are running the corporations and running the the mass pharmaceutical, all the mass control.
Could be. It's an interesting theory for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Who's to say there's just one faction of aliens? You could be in the middle
definitely.
of an alien war.
Oh.
That's why things get shot out of the sky, and who knows?
An alien war. I have not considered this. As we look for intelligent life on all these different planets and galaxies and different, wherever life may exist. And to think that we are still looking for some sort of evidence of aliens here on Earth.
Of alien life.
It's so funny to me, right? I mean,
well, yeah, the new Marvel TV show that just came out. It's called Secret War. It's about the Skrulls, which are aliens that can transform into human form, and they pretend to be human, and they actually are in high positions in the government. So there you go. It's called Secret War.
I just think so often, things that I think could be quantified as evidence supporting some sort of hypothesis are disregarded because they're not put into an educational article. And, I just feel like some of these things, like pictures of Bigfoot, like, why isn't that considered evidence? Why are we just disregarding it as a hoax when it's a picture of a Bigfoot, but just because somebody else didn't take the same picture of that same Bigfoot, then we can't consider it evidence. I don't know. It just, sometimes I feel like, I'm gonna complain about the academics again. I feel like this is the academics' fault.
Well, consider that the people that are conducting the peer, what do we call those? Peer related studies, peer
reviews. Yeah.
Peer reviewed. Thank you.
Peer
reviewed studies. Also the people that are at the top of these agencies that are controlling what right?
Right. They decide what they peer review. They decide.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's just
they
a
hate
big.
being wrong.
It's a big conspiracy.
They hate being wrong, and they hate being the person that didn't discover the discovered bit.
Yeah.
Right,
well, and if you have a viable claim and evidence to support your claim and peer-reviewed studies, if it does not support that agenda, there's no way anybody's going to put their name behind that.
Yeah.
There you go. There's your academic rant.
Thank you. I feel like I have to have one
I'm
every
done with
episode
you.
now,
I got
apparently.
I love it. That's good. I mean, that's true. It's good because it makes you question, right? It's making you think a little deeper about why.
I'm just not going to trust the two scientists that said, this is how it is. This is how it's only, it only has ever been, because they might not know. They don't know what they don't know.
Well,
so I just don't get stuck in your ways, please.
Exactly. That's what I love about this podcast, right? We all have the ability to change our mind at any time, but don't stop at one perspective. Just continue to be curious. So it's cool that you're curious about the peer-reviewed studies.
I just think it's completely
why some of these aren't published, right?
Yeah. Well, some of them are published. That's the thing. Like, sometimes they do publish things, and somebody doesn't agree with it, and so they just bury those published articles about these things. And okay, so you don't like it.
And then you look at the money behind things, right? So we'll go back to Skinwalker Ranch for a second, but you can look at this anywhere. I know Robert Bigelow had a lot of money, right? He still has a lot of money, but this new guy, that owns it, Brandon Fugel, has a lot of money. So how much money are you throwing at things to get the attention that, you can hire the right physicist and the right people and do your own studies and your own experiments and your own things and dig in to find the truth? Money talks.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, I think it's really interesting that, anyways, I was going down a rabbit hole.
Michael said that academic gatekeepers. That's a good word for them. Academic gatekeepers, right? They kind of get to dictate what gets published and what doesn't, and whose word is the truth. And
right. And from who, right?
Conspiracy.
I mean, if we're saying that that this is the standard for a certain theory, who set the standard for that theory, and who set the standard for, like, at what point? Yeah, I'm always curious about how a lot of this stuff gets published.
Yeah.
By whose standards? Somebody that wrote Robert's Rules of Order, 10,000 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Who says I have to conduct a meeting that way just because Robert did it?
Exactly.
Jesus, come on. Right. I like to be more free flowing with my meetings. Yeah.
I don't want rules. Oh, that's funny. All right, so I'm curious. Let's go back to. Oh no, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
I want to go back to the Las Vegas UFO incident. So I'm curious, for those of you that are listening, how many of you think that this was a real incident, including my co-hosts, based on the fireball that's streaking across the sky?
I still can't decide. I don't feel like there's enough evidence. I don't know that there's enough evidence to convince me that it was an alien or that it was just a fireball. I think there's compelling evidence in both directions, actually. I think the fact that the fireball lit up the sky like that, crazy cool. Like, never seen anything like that in my life. It turned night into day, just like that. But I believe that a fireball could absolutely do that. I also think maybe an alien craft could do that. I'm not sure. Maybe their lights are really bright, Yeah.
I think it's interesting that, well, here we go. Taking clout from our official agencies. But, the Las Vegas Metro Police Department has not disclosed. They have not said that this is a hoax, or they've been very secretive about the evidence that they do have. But is that a standard investigation protocol? I don't know. I'm leaning toward hoax.
I lean that direction as well.
Yeah.
I just, for some reason, the story doesn't quite add up for me. It seems more of like a convenient story than an actual, but he wants to believe.
I want to believe too. What about you, Mr. Whitney?
I think there's some merit to the story.
Do you?
Yeah. Just the whole, calling 911. It was just an interesting... I believe him. I don't know.
I mean, who else would you call? I mean, that's how you're going to get
Ghostbusters,
some help,
right?
Yeah.
That's the only... Yeah. You're going to call the Men in Black. I don't know.
Oh, you know what they did say that I thought was interesting? This seemed a little are we on drugs? It seemed a little strange to me. So after calling 911, the family heard an audible patter of multiple feet in the yard, and then later heard footsteps on their roof.
I know. Did they really? I don't know.
What? That just seemed...
Or maybe they were just so panicked, frenzied, because the sons were like, "Whoa, I think I saw something out there. I think I saw aliens." And then the mom was like, "Oh my God, we've got aliens!" And then she's hearing things, you don't know.
They weren't hysterical.
Your mind plays tricks on you when you're scared, for sure.
With how calm with how calm they were, it makes me believe them more than hysterical because they were like, this is flipping weird.
And I mean, it is weird that they were calm, and then the evidence or the like transcripts of stuff said that just they went inside after the event and just prayed together as a family, which makes you think that they were really actually scared. And everybody handles fear differently anyways, so they could have a calm demeanor in a panic situation. Some people just have that.
Okay, there's a couple of comments I want to read. Speculation is okay to start off, but it's not evidence.
That's true. Yeah. But the speculation's the fun part. Somebody said that. Speculation's fun though. That is what's fun.
Jackal,
is it possible the aliens keep crashing because they aren't used to the flat planet and throws off their navigation?
I laugh.
So wait, is Earth the only flat planet then?
Flat earther.
Right.
Mm-hmm. He is standing behind it. I like it, Jackal. You stand on that flat Earth. Too?
But you know what? I love that you're thinking like this. I love it. So here's somebody, when I asked about what do we think about the Las Vegas episode or incident, Jason Verdugo said possible yes, probable no.
That's probably the best description of my stance on it. Like, could have happened, probably didn't, but maybe did. And it seems like a lot of people have that opinion too. Like,
yeah, I mean, this is one of the things I love about this platform, right? You can hold two opposing ideas, right? I'm still a believer. Even if this is a hoax, I'm still a believer. Yeah, absolutely. And I don't even want to go as far to say that it's a hoax yet. I just don't have enough information yet.
There's still compelling pieces to the story that make it seem like it could be real.
Yeah, and then this one's nice. Guy X1 says, nice to see some skepticism on here. Refreshing. Oh, we're bringing the skepticism every week.
I like that. Again, with the opposing views, like, I just love that we have the differing opinions. That's maybe the most fun part about this. I love to hear other people's differing opinion also,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, we don't do that enough. We don't have differing opinions without being totally angry at each other enough.
Yes, we can do this, you guys. We can talk about things we don't agree on and
Absolutely.
Still get along. All right, Mr. Movies, you had said something about this.
Almost like signs. Oh yeah, they described the creature. The creature description that he had on the 911 call was very similar to the movie Signs. Which I don't remember. I remember watching once and being terrified, so I never watched it again. He's pulling up
it is pretty creepy.
Clip of it.
I agree. Yeah.
He's almost got it.
Here we go. You see it?
Looks like a bush.
See it? Just wait. Let's go to the front door. Move, kids! Get out of the way! Get ready.
Oh, God. Yeah, I mean, this is where I don't want to be a part of it. I just don't want to be a part of it.
There it is. There it is.
It just looks creepy.
Also, I think in Signs, they actually weren't aliens.
They weren't? What were they?
They were demonic.
Oh.
And that's why the holy water killed him at the end.
That's even worse. Just throw water on the aliens. Thanks, Jackal.
And that's why he regained his faith at the end of the movie.
Oh, it's like a religious based,
Yeah,
like it's
based,
a finding your
faith again.
Finding your faith again. Interesting.
Everything happens for a reason.
That alien's on keto.
No doubt.
Here is a real event, though, that's very similar.
A real event?
I've seen this one. Yes.
4 years ago in Denver.
Just about 4:45, and take a look at this viral video from La Junta in southeastern Colorado. All right, Vivian Gomez wrote on Facebook that her security camera captured this.
What is that?
They even had the kid try to recreate this that lived in this house.
They had
put underwear on his head and try to walk like that. Didn't look anything like that.
Vivian Gomez wrote on Facebook that her
that leg walk, that is
leg walk is
Sunday
creepy.
There are people on Facebook who
What is
that is weird.
That is like a very thin, frail child.
They say
if
it looks
is
like
a child.
Dobby from Harry Potter.
It does look like Dobby.
Look at that.
Or
Look at,
Smeagol.
Look at
or
straight
whatever.
arms. Very thin legs. What is that?
Its feet and hands are doing weird things.
Right. Rating Madness says.
Ooh, a
Wait,
puppet.
Wait, hold on. This one.
100% marionette.
That is what it looks like. That is a
Hanging
really
from the
good-
sky?
Yes.
Like you're marionetting from the
No,
rooftop?
there's a shadow. Look at the shadow.
You'd be able to see strings, yeah.
It's the same shadows come from the same light source as the car shadow.
It has rickets. It looks like it's like jamming out or something.
It like did the chicken dance,
Yeah.
like yeah, chicken dance, yeah.
Where did it go after this? Does it just evaporate? Does it? Is that?
Well,
the end of
probably
the
turns
video?
around and catches the face of the kid next
they stopped
door.
the
right?
video after.
Like, why did they
Gets halfway.
stop? Can we find the full camera
Because then
footage?
the tractor beam comes out of the UFO and it goes up and they fly off. They can't show us everything.
I
only
wish they
show us what they
would
want us
at
to
least show
see.
us where this thing went afterwards. Like, walk down the street, did it turn around and go back into the house? Crazy. That's funny.
That is wild. Wild.
Enhance. 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 I think he hangs out at my bus stop. I can see that. Everybody's got just like the crazy guy, right? Like hanging out at their bus stop.
I don't know. The video, there's some, I don't know. Part of my brain goes, that's extremely compelling. And then part of it's like, he looks like he's dancing like to Michael Jackson or something.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
he's
so it's
he's just
like-
enjoying his life.
Oh, that's good.
This is why we don't ride the bus. That's right, Galaxian.
How do you know it only walks weird when in the camera shot, Dave? How do you know how it walks when it's not on camera?
It does have a weird foot gait, though. Like its feet are really like out to the side, which some people have that kind of foot gait. But
All right, our poll just ended. Are ETs living among us? 51% said yes.
oh, it's almost split.
48% said no.
Does
Interesting.
lack of evidence mean that it's not real?
No way.
Right. I love that question.
That
Yes,
alien
I
walked
haven't
like the
seen it.
local pimp in my area.
Oh,
Chupacabra? Was it a chupacabra?
Robodex says that's the ball sack stuck to the leg walk. Trying to get it off.
That's so true. Oh my gosh. Wait, remind me what a chupacabra is. I forgot. Is it one of
I don't know.
The devil dog from Mexico.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Oh, goodness.
That is. Oh, yeah.
All right, who in the chat isn't, government agent?
Oh, yeah.
Here.
Who is the man in black
Who's
that's in
gonna
the chat?
reveal-
'Cause
yeah,
I'm
who's
sure
gonna
we've
reveal
got
it?
one or
You
two.
can say it because nobody will actually believe you. Who's monitoring this
Here come
podcast?
the man
right
in
now?
black.
Well, that's basically your opinion on it, right, Karen? Like we are kind of living in Men in Black.
Yes.
And there are just the alien, different species
Yes.
kind of cloaking themselves as us, wearing skin
Correct.
suits.
It's Ryan Barron. He's saying goodnight. He's leaving once we called him out.
Good night, Ryan. Thanks for hanging out.
Yes, I do believe that. Yeah.
So fun.
Larry says it's definitely not me.
This was a fun conversation. I'm not gonna lie. I think we could have lots of conversations about UFOs. I'm actually sad that Burley wasn't here for it.
We'll touch this topic again.
I think she would have found this
think so?
You
intriguing.
know what? An even
Oh,
more
good.
compelling sighting will happen in the near future.
I think
better
she would be
evidence,
our skeptic, right? Like
better
she would be
witnesses.
our true skeptic in this, perhaps.
Who
Yeah, I
here
think
in
you're
chat,
right.
Has anybody in chat actually seen a UFO? I feel like I've seen a couple.
You think you have?
Yeah, I think I have. Yeah.
Remember when we were
definitely.
driving home like at night that one night, and there was just something floating to the right of us as we were driving?
Yeah, I just assumed it would.
Yeah, but it was
Oh.
like it was
Yeah, it
staying
wasn't-
alongside us for so long.
Yeah, that was really weird. That one night that we were driving home, that was really bizarre.
And it should have been going behind hills and stuff, and it just stayed visible. It was really weird.
I mean,
no
the hills.
planes like an airplane,
We
or no
live-
lights
we
like
live
an
in a-
airplane.
Yeah, it wasn't an airplane
Yeah, 'cause
because
it wasn't flashing lights. It was just a
Yeah.
constant.
it was
light.
like an orb, and it just kind of traveled with us.
It was
And,
not the
you know,
space
it-
station, right?
No, and it should have gone behind
Yeah, if-
hills or something. I mean, we've got
Oh.
lots of hills. It should have
Yeah, we
gone
live in Rolling
somewhere.
Hills, so
And it stayed with us for quite a while. I don't even remember what ended up happening to it. I
yeah,
think
it like took off in a different direction as we went that way on the road. So
yeah, instead of coming with us, it just kind of went off the
yeah,
not parallel, perpendicular to
it
us.
could have been a drone. It was.
It
I don't know,
was
it was
weird.
too big. It
It
felt
was
too big
big.
to be a drone because it was in the distance, but it was also like
It wasn't
know.
right next to us. It was. I mean, it felt like it
like a
should have been a
quarter
plane
mile away.
flying.
yeah.
Like-
It was like, is that a plane? It was like we just narrowed down that it wasn't a plane because
And it almost felt like,
We
is that
would've
like a cell phone
realized that.
tower? Like, is that a cell phone tower? And
But
it
no,
just
it's
is like an
traveling with
optical
us.
illusion, but it stayed with us for way longer than a cell phone tower in the distance would. It was bizarre. Yeah. That was a weird night.
And then on Halloween night, when I was like 10, 11, 12 or something like that. Can't remember how old I was, but we just saw it. Similar to the video we saw tonight in Las Vegas. Blue, greenish blue thing floating. And it wasn't like... I've seen meteors.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't look anything like that. And it just was going straight north and disappeared over the hill. Like over the hill mountain kind of thing. So it's interesting.
Karen, do you think you've seen one?
Yeah, a couple times. Same kind of thing. No identifying lights on them that would indicate an airplane, and moving kind of in the same direction that I was moving. And there's something almost captivating about it. Like you do kind of feel like you're under a, like something is the energy, like you were talking about the energy kind of shifting. It's kind of strange. It's this strange frequency that kind of, I don't know, it emanates from it. But yeah, I thought it would be it's a little anticlimactic. It wasn't as like woo.
Yeah, it wasn't like I think that was like reflecting back. It was maybe more alien-like than while it was happening. We're like, what's going on right now?
Right. Yeah, and remember, this, we can get into this in future episodes, but these, are they traveling interdimensionally? Are they, is it a craft? Is it not a craft? Is it? We're often looking for this craft, and oftentimes it's not what our eyes would want to perceive it to be as a craft, right? So that was an interesting revelation for me.
Yeah, Michael B. said he saw one 15 years ago, looked like a flying trash can. He thought it was a cylindrical object hovering. Yeah, that is interesting.
Tic Tac shape. Common shape.
Yeah.
I saw an alien. I'm pretty sure it was Canadian.
Well, that's good. There's a couple people that mentioned the Brazil incident, the Brazil UFO incident. So we'll certainly take that back and add that to our notes for a future episode to chat about. Sure. Yeah. I don't know where you went.
Oh God, our chat is just the best. They are so funny.
R.I.P. George. Rest in probes.
Oh my gosh.
I hope he comes back eventually.
You guys, be careful what you ask for. Yeah. This is like instant manifestation in this podcast. You want it, man, you are gonna get it.
Gosh. Oh wow. I wonder if we're ready for some grounded guidance for the evening. Are we ready for that?
You got some?
Can you even get in that mind frame?
Ground yourself first. Do you want my hat? Would that help?
Because we are like, I feel like we're having a party here. This is hilarious.
Yeah.
This hat is actually easy to make. I went to the kitchen, grabbed some aluminum foil, and just wrapped it around my head.
Turned it into a Hershey's
Anybody can
kiss.
do it as long as you have aluminum foil in your kitchen.
And a cowboy hat.
I need the thick aluminum foil, not the thin stuff.
This is the heavy duty Reynolds wrap. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's all we keep here, because if I want aluminum foil, I want it to not leak,
Oh man, you guys! I have had fun tonight.
Me too. It's been a good one.
What is a night when you can't, if you're not laughing? So this was good
for sure.
All right, we're gonna end with some grounded guidance. So tonight's the solstice, the longest day of the today, the longest day of the year in the northern hemisphere. So after today, our days start getting shorter until we move to the winter solstice in December. So a little bit of interesting information. Okay, so let me get all the sillies out of me. Okay, warmth within the intangible space. There is light available for everybody. Like curling up with a warm blanket, allow the light to warm your soul. Imagine riding a bike on a warm, sunny day and you feel a slight breeze. You can't touch the wind, but you can feel it. You can't touch the sun, but you can be burned by it. The intangible and the untouchable. Find the little corners in your reality that are intangible and relish for a moment in that space. Your mindset, your love, your creativity, and your ideas. What makes you unique that you really can't quantify? It is the intangible within us that gives life meaning. The Tao Te Ching wisdom shares this. We join spokes together in a wheel, but it is the center hole that makes the wagon move. We shape clay into a pot, but it is the emptiness inside that holds what we want. We hammer wood for a house, but it is the inner space that makes it livable. The intangible is a vast, wide open space. Pay attention to how it informs you.
Oh, that was good. That one spoke to me. I liked that.
Yeah, good. Yeah. Well, thanks everybody for a really fun episode and enlightening. Yeah. Leaving on a high note. So we will be back next week, Burley will be back.
Mm-hmm.
And a little sneak peek for those of you that join us, we're going to be talking about what happens when we die.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one. Wear your hats.
I can't wait to hear the dissenting opinions on that.
Good night, everybody.
It'll be a good one. Yeah, have a good one, you guys. Bye.